we're on episode 19, Invest with Instinct. And guys, we got for me, a blast from the past. For you, maybe somebody you see out there in the X sphere, shilling the Pepe cards, or I wouldn't even say shilling, just being a great representative of that space. Bryan Micon, and do people still call you that sweet name of the icon, or is that just like gone?
You catch it in the poker spots sometime, and I mean, I don't know what it's, I am absolutely shilling Pepes. I am shilling Pepes
Absolutely.
at all times. I mean, I have a physical Pepe cache just in case, a situation like this comes up, James.
Hey,
And
if you
I'm
ever
the
get
Rare
it
Pepe
shaken
dealer.
down, that's as good as gold right there.
If they, they don't call me the icon so much anymore. They're calling me the Rare Pepe dealer these days. And I mean, it is what it is. I don't care. I used to try to brand everything real clean, but I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
Don't bother me.
I love it.
You can call me whatever you want.
Well, anyways,
Yeah.
we were just talking a little bit about kind of the term like independence, and I guess when I think of you, and I don't know you well, obviously, I only know what I've seen. Is if I had to guess, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, you're you're trying to be living sovereign in a way, right? You want to dictate how you live, the way you want to live, and your wife and your kid, and you want to make those decisions, and don't want to leave it up to like jurisdictions or pressure from other people. And like I mentioned, it's something that I think we all talk about. I remember like, you get friends together and you're like, wouldn't it be sick if we could all like own a neighborhood and like all live together and like do this thing? But like
Yeah.
in the end, we all go our separate ways. We work our jobs, we do our whatever, and nobody actually pulls the trigger. So that's why I was really interested in having you on, because it seems like you kind of actually just did that. So can you describe
Yeah,
that a little bit to me or to the people of what that entailed?
sure. I mean, I there are a lot of movements. I know you kind of touched on some of them, the sovereign citizen groups, and then there's a lot of libertarian groups that sort of preach the same thing. And then, or somewhere, every something similar. But I mean, I don't like align with any group or anything. But I mean, my wife and I, and she's probably, is owed, half of all of the accolades there about, you know, sounds like you talk about it in a positive light about just, saying fuck it, we're gonna go move to an island. I mean, just gonna go move to a Caribbean island. And I mean, like, I know what you were kind of touching on earlier. Sometimes you and the boys will get around and you're like, hey, what if we just, had our own little space? And I mean, that's kind of the vision out here in Antigua and Barbuda, is to build crypto Silicon Valley or something like that. Keep building the rails, keep making it easier for crypto people to come here, buy a passport, buy a house, and then I mean, it's just it's set up some Bitcoin infrastructure, some Bitcoin ATMs on islands. So now, if anybody gets crypto, it's real money to them. They can get the fiat currency used for food, and it's trying to do it here. It's why, how, you just do it. You just go. You just decide. And then having a supportive wife that's like, yeah, let's fuck out of here. America's sort of feels like it's deteriorating, like socially, especially, if not, financially. It feels like there's like kind of a class war that, like, it feels like it's kind of like starting, or the tensions are beginning, and it feels like there's kind of a race war, there's kind of a class war, like all these tensions, maybe not war yet, but just like there's like racial tensions, there's class tensions, there's political tensions, there's like that all seem to be increasing, not decreasing.
Mhm.
Just seems like the political pendulum keeps swinging just further one way and then further the other way. It feels like people are more desperate. It feels like cities, like when I see images of San Francisco these days, and there's like there's fentanyl zombies in the street, man. There's like all these influencers that are kind of making a name off like filming San Francisco right now. They're just like, I just walk around downtown San Francisco, a major American city, used to be a tech capital. And I don't know. I just it's like it's fun to build by yourself. I've always been tried to remain independent. Didn't want to hitch the wagon to a company to just try to grab some friends and build some shit. Like is what I always want to do. and I think I've gotten pretty lucky. So I mean, it's not necessarily, I don't know if I was savvy enough, smart enough, good enough, but like I mean, like I feel I got lucky in in some spots, and just and but I know there's a lot of others out there that kind of that that have kind of run it up, and they're kind of looking what to do. Yeah, I mean, I think Antigua. There's a lot of other places too that would be fun to run away from America. There's a big wide world out there that's not America. And
Hmm.
America's fun. I like to come to Vegas every year. I had fun at the World Series last year. I like to visit. Don't like to sit in it. It's like to come back here to default calm, jump in your craziness for a little bit, your American insanity, get 6 weeks of that, and then just be like,
just
okay, I'm
just a
overloaded.
sweet taste, a little sweet taste.
Yeah, just the good morsels, just the juicy morsels, just the World Series in Vegas. Got a little bit of that, little Miami, and then just bye.
Do you think
Back to
you would
reality.
have pulled the same trigger had crypto not really been a thing? Do you think you would have found yourself in a similar position some other way?
Uh, I mean, I don't know what I would have done if crypto didn't happen. I don't know what the fuck I'd be doing. I don't think I'd be playing poker anymore. I don't think I'd be. Maybe I'd be involved in poker still in some way. Maybe announcing. I like announcing poker.
Mm,
Fun. I don't know. I don't think I'd be like. I still when my daughter was born, I was like, I'm not gonna grind. I'm not gonna like leave the house for like 12 hours every day. I'm also not gonna chain myself to a computer for 12 hours every day to like get some action. And I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Crypto definitely saved my ass. No question about that. I mean, I when Roger Ver and I both found crypto 2011. He has $1 million because he had built memory dealers. He built a business that bought and sold computer parts, and ran a really good business. Just ran a very good, efficient business. Buy for X, sell for Y. Stuff everybody needs. Stuff like RAM. People want more and more RAM. All the time. And so I was playing poker, and some of my friends that were playing at the time had far greater success than I did. Maybe it's a combination of tried harder, studied harder. I don't know. And one guy just game selected. One guy, that was the whole thing, and that turned out to be like he just all he did is play donks heads up online.
yeah.
That's all I did. Didn't do anything else. I'm trying to chase tournaments, buy into World Series events, see if I can beat the best in the world every year at mixed games. And I mean, that's fun. That's what I like to do. But if you wanted just to print money, that wasn't how you did it. And but yeah, I don't know. I really have no clue what I'd be doing with Bitcoin. Maybe something art, maybe something artistic too. I don't know. No clue. But it's fun. It's fun to find crypto and to mix all of it together.
Yeah.
Gambling, investing, art, like just everything I'm into, just swirl it all around. I'll have a
Isn't
big piece
that
of that.
weird?
It's like,
Isn't that weird
yeah,
how that
yes,
works sometimes? Like, it's just a hypothetical because, like, I guess I asked that question, but the fact is it did happen, right? It did show up, and you were like,
sure,
y
sure,
here you were, have all these interests, and, like, there's gonna be some people that is their interests, like, right in that wheelhouse, like, a creative mind,
sure.
has a little bit of that gambling edge, the need to build things, the wanna be, independent, like, all of that just fits right in that box. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Beginning crypto was very libertarian based and very independent. Freedom seeking kind of people.
and is that still your kind of core feelings about just like the Bitcoin asset itself? Is that still like your underlying thesis for it? Like, how do you say like what Bitcoin is to you in like a minute or less? What is it?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, permissionless money is what it is. Why it was attractive to me when I was playing online poker, and sometimes the banks would block your transaction. And so I look at this, I'm like, oh, well, that's how money should be. Money shouldn't be like that. They shouldn't tell me no for my money. It should be more like this, permissionless. And anybody can make an account. You just pull an account out of thin air if you want, and participate if you want. Don't participate if you want. Nobody can make more of it. I mean, that was for me. I was like, oh, well, that sounds like much better money than the bullshit that we're used to. And what is it? It's currency, payment system, protocol. It's a lot of different things that hold some artwork, hold some tokens. I mean, it does so many things. It's brand new. There's nothing else like it. It's a brand new asset class as soon as it was created, and it's it's awesome. It's
It is
really
awesome.
great that we have it. It's a great freedom tool, just like not just for me personally, but for groups that, at Goldstein at the Human Rights Foundation, he always talks about Bitcoin as like the number one freedom tool, because if you have a disenfranchised group anywhere, and then you just give them some Bitcoin, and then now all of a sudden they're funded. You didn't need to have their local bank, which probably hates them,
Hmm.
just assuming, because if they're some disenfranchised group, then you can now pass that money anywhere to fund anything. Well, not quite nation state level yet, but you can get the important amount of money to somebody right away.
Where along that line did you like, I can't really comprehend, because like I started looking at this stuff in like 2013, 2014, when we were at like, I don't know, that kind of $600 to $1,200 range, right? When it was very serious, like it kind of started getting really serious. Like if you were back in like 2011 and stuff, and we're talking, prices that were minuscule compared to what they are now, how were you like, were you able to take it really seriously and really open your mind as to like what could actually come? Like, could you ever picture where we are now, or did you kind of have that in your mind back in the day? Like, does that make sense as a
Yeah,
question?
it does. It does. Like, I always thought this would happen. I just thought it'd be much later. I
Mm,
didn't think I would be. I didn't think my daughter would still be young when when Bitcoin blew up. I didn't think, or crypto in general too. 'Cause there's a lot of other things that came along for that ride. And I mean, it was shocking to me how quickly it happened. But I mean, even in 11, and like all the like. It's kind of funny because like the crowd has now changed, and it's just like everybody from every walks of life, and all different socioeconomic, all different backgrounds, all different everything. And like at the very beginning, it was like just people that thought it was gonna like just skyrocket for usually kind of libertarian, freedom-minded reasons. Government prints too much. People think money should work more like this. So everybody around me was more confident than I was.
mm,
And I know a lot of people from that era, from that. There's like a Vegas meetup in 2011 that was started, and there was like some of the early people that we were. Bitcoin Talk was just the sort of the Satoshi circle of where everybody gathered to either trade or to talk about it all every day. It's not like that anymore. It's more pretty much Twitter, I guess,
yeah.
or X, whatever, and then kind of fragmented now into weird little religious subcultures. But uh, that being said, at the very beginning, it was all like everybody kind of thought it was going to moon. Everybody was sort of on board with like, wow, this is much better money. There was a lot of questions like, oh, can you do this? Did you make money? Like, what if? How do we make it money? And then all of a sudden, people started trading, and you're like, well, that's money. Like, people are buying and selling it for fiat. And there's a dollar value, and there's Mt. Gox, and then people would can deposit, and then there's Silk Road, and people are buying drugs, and then they're trading these digital tokens, and like, it was like it was like everybody saw that the transaction they didn't want you to make, you could now make.
Mm.
And that was very powerful to watch it happen from the beginning. And I think that I think everybody kind of thought that it's strange because a lot of people around you are just screaming at you, you're an idiot. Internet money, it doesn't exist. What do you mean? There's no backing. But if there's no country, then how could it have value? It's like, well, why does the country give you the value? And it kicked off that whole conversation of like, can a protocol act as a central bank? Can a protocol act as can they prevent the double spend? Can they solve the Byzantine general problem?
Hmm.
Will socially people accept it as money? That's what I always thought was the biggest hurdle that would take decades and decades. Was socially would people change? But they didn't take decades. They switched immediately. And there's a lot of people disenfranchised. There's a lot of people that are pissed off at their bank every day, or their or whatever financial institution. And I guess there was just enough people that had enough problems with this. Everybody experiencing hyperinflation that had problems with their government printing. And I mean, I guess it happened quickly. I guess it needed to be said. It needed to be done.
Yeah.
And here we are. That's how it ran this time.
Yeah, it feels like an eternity, but really in the grand scheme of things, it's been like a little over a decade, which is pretty wild. I'm just I'm trying to like put myself as a poker player, as a trader in that moment where you guys were. And to me, like, if let's just say Bitcoin was, I assume at one point it was like $5 or like $2 or whatever it
Yeah.
was. It's hard for me
Yeah, I
to
was handing them out
comprehend.
then.
What's that?
I was handing them out then. I was just telling everybody
Yeah.
to jump
Yeah.
on the Seals with Clubs poker site, and here's a free Bitcoin. Here's a free $5 Bitcoin. Here's half a Bitcoin when it goes to $10 and $20. We lowered it. So
Yeah. I'm just like,
yeah,
to me, and even as a guy who can maybe understand an expansion of a bankroll and stuff, like $400 would be the moon. That would be the moon after
sure,
$2. Like it's hard for me
sure.
to think that I could even be able to grasp what it could become. Maybe it's just because of you have all these other inputs of people starting to be like, no, dude, like imagine sovereign states come into play. This is global. It's not just American. There could be $1 billion that comes. The deflation, like, is that kind of what helped you think bigger?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at M1 money supply. That's like obviously the upper bound, and
Hmm.
you look at the you know total value in gold is another metric that people like to see, just to say, hey, look, everybody values the shiny rocket this, and the total value is this. People, the gold being the thing that has value to some billions of humans, and that, which is another interesting thing.
Yeah.
There's another podcast you can do on that for 45 minutes, and like why people think gold is valuable. But you can look at some of those values, and then you get to your $1 million Bitcoin price, or your
Mhm.
you know wherever sort of you're doing some poker style incomplete information. Like, you don't even, it's a new asset class, so you don't even know what it is. Like, it's not
Mhm.
even a currency then, or is it a currency? Or you can argue protocol, currency, payment system, payment platform. It's all these different things, and with which all have different valuations, but it's all that rolled into one. But socially, though, if people don't accept it, then it's worthless, essentially. But if a bunch of humans in a bunch of different countries, even countries that hate each other, if they all agree that this is money, then all of a sudden you have something pretty powerful. And that, putting a value on it, trying to peg a value, especially trying to peg a US dollar value, if you believe that on a long enough time scale, fiat currencies start to fade, and cryptocurrencies or whatever else comes next that we can't even conceive replace it. It's not that, it's just, I would just, instead of putting a price target or like some
Mhm.
thing, I think you just have to just kind of take that mindset of like, okay, it'll increase over time. It'll be able to, one unit can buy more and more goods over time. And exactly how much or exactly where, I find it just stupid when people speculate on it. I find it idiotic when people break out the TA on the charts. They start drawing lines on their charts.
TA.
When people just call up all these influencers with all these viewers calling out all these prices up or down, or the bearish, bullish. They don't know. I mean, they just don't know. Nobody knows. If you know, you have, maybe JMO knows. He
I
printed
gotta
up
talk to
infinite off
JMO.
leverage trading.
I would love to talk to
Maybe he
JMO.
knows. And then nobody else with like 1 million subs on YouTube, with a couple 100,000 on YouTube, they don't know. They don't know. If they did, they wouldn't be doing that. Simple as that.
I just finished watching somebody ironically yesterday, Olaf Wee or Olaf whatever his name is, the polychain guy. But he really just had me thinking, and it's the same thing you're saying, is that there is no base asset. Like everybody's always converting it back into dollars essentially as this like, well, we always come back to the dollar, but he's like, no, like you're just, that's the dollar is just another relative asset to something, right? So if you can start to actually comprehend the idea of it's all just relative, and if you think Bitcoin's really going to be a success story, then it should go up relative to every other kind of fiat over time. And by just switching that mindset, which to me is very difficult to do because I'm just so embedded into the system, but I feel like
Yeah.
I'm getting there. It's a little bit easier to stop worrying about that so much.
There's something to be said for US dollar being world reserve currency, and just it being completely useful right now, 2023. I mean, I think it's good to live in reality, and You get people saying that it's like, I mean, yes, it's an inflationary shitcoin. Like it's, you don't want to hold it, but when it comes time to buy something, super useful. And where I live, the Eastern Caribbean dollar is super useful. And so, just I mean, it's far more useful than Bitcoin if you want to go and buy food right now. So I think it's good to watch the rails to try to evaluate them all. You know, as realistically as you can. Challenge some of those sincerely held beliefs. Yeah, I see just like so much what it just feels like religious
Mm.
discussion about crypto, about everybody's a maxi, or they hate this coin, or that it's Ethereum only, or it's Bitcoin only, or I don't know, just there's all Solana that has like its own little
Mhm.
sort of maximalist army kind of coming or going, and even people are like even linked up to those scams with those like those cult of personality scams, like the hex or whatever, and I
Mm.
mean, it just feels like so. It feels. I just watched that cult show on the Netflix with the twin flame cults, and it just feels. I just can't help but think like, it's like some of these communities feel like really similar. There's like some guy that everybody worships for whatever misguided reason, and like the whole chain, Justin Sun and Tron. I mean, there's like all these different examples too, like of like a chain and like a group of a fairly large group of crypto enthusiasts that are like fairly maximalist around one coin, and even a cult of personality around that coin. Like you see that kind of popping up in the space, and it kind of looks religious to me. I mean, it's not
Mhm.
at its core, but it feels like it has elements of that.
So what is it that, we've been through 12, 13 years and, we had the rise of the ICO, we had the rise of the NFT, we had DeFi, we have all these kind of waves. Um, and it's funny you said you lived with a or spent some time with a guy who was like a bum hunter, right? And he was like, fuck everything else. I'm just gonna like make money the way
Yeah.
I like to. And it's almost like you're that guy now with Bitcoin, in that like you're kind of like able to ignore, and I don't know that you ignore, but I'm guessing that you're able to kind of ignore all of these huge rises in things and popularity and everything that's so exciting, and you kind of stick with your original kind of premise. Is it How hard is that for you to do,
Yeah.
or is it really easy? And do you kind of like that almost in a way where you're like, yeah, go ahead and enjoy your bullshit. I'll see you back here at the Citadel or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
How do you explain that?
sure. I mean, I guess the thesis hasn't really changed in that 12 years of like governments print, this is better money. But then, that statement gets more complicated, in 15 with Ethereum. And then now with, you have things like Monero, you have things that might have better properties that, like, if I always thought, I think a lot of people think when they find Bitcoin, they're like, oh, it's probably anonymous when you send it. And then like after doing some research, you're like, oh no, that's not the case at all. Like you can
Yeah.
just like publicly see which address sent to the other address. And now you tag Binance's hot wallet. So like now, okay, now you can see if somebody, oh, the coins made it into Binance hot wallet. It was a deposit, And so I think things like that emerge. And then even if a coin has different properties that you like, then I think that social aspect sort of kind of now dictates, what will be chosen, what is useful. I think there's a lot more social, like how many people accept this, where can I use it. But the original thesis, I think, is intact in that the winners in crypto, which again, that's what everybody sort of likes to gamble on. I think that it's just better money, it's a better class, it's better everything. More people will keep using it over time. The units will purchase more goods over time. And I think all that's intact.
So play me out a scenario here, which is something I always like to run through my head, of Bitcoin in a sense, I don't know if this is the right word, but winning, having its global adoption moment, right? I feel like we're on our way there, but we're not really there yet. But let's just say it has this moment where there is an onboarding of a couple billion people, and it's really kind of now looked at as a global asset. It's not being fought anymore. It's joined. it's whatever. What's the ecosystem look like? Is it everything is just bigger? Is the rest of the stuff diluted and a lot of the liquidity comes back to Bitcoin? Like, how does this all play out in your mind?
I mean, like, I think that digital assets become more accepted over time. So, like, if you say like Bitcoin has made it, yeah, you have El Salvador. It looks like Argentina. You would assume the new crazy man in charge of Argentina is going to do something crypto-ish because he says he's going to kill the bank or whatever. You never know how that's going to. That's you got to watch and see what he does. See how that situation plays out. But it's going to probably be more countries. Whenever you're experiencing fiat hyperinflation, there's an eject button for countries up to a certain size. Like China can't just Bitcoinize today. I mean, it would be tough to get 1.4 billion people firing transactions on there right away. But there are countries that are smaller countries. Argentina, 46 million is going to be fairly significant. But like El Salvador, do not remember the population size there. But it seems like that is a reasonable eject button for smaller nation state level, countries, feeling the burn of the hyperinflation. You got something to do, and even if it's not done on a nation state level, the people have something to do. Have some, we heard the stories in Venezuela of them mining Bitcoin with the cheap power from the cheap oil to try to just stay ahead when their currency a couple years ago started to super hyperinflate. And I think what is James? I mean, like I think it's great. I don't know, man. I do not know how it runs. I would assume more and more. I would assume we'll see more and more nation states jumping on board. Yeah, I mean, it probably looks like you could land anywhere on a plane and have your wallet and either trade for local currency or not, or just base Bitcoin. And who wins there? Ethereum? Do other chains win?
So is that what it
I
looks
don't know.
like when you're Bitcoinized? Is that what it like? I also, I live in San Diego. We're not, we fucking whatever, put everything on a credit
Quite.
card or pay with Apple Pay. So like, how does it look
Yeah.
in real life when a country is Bitcoinized, and is that even a thing? Like, are the rails for transfers easy to process? Is there like the layer 2 thing? Is that happening? How's it work?
Yeah, it's a good question, and that's something that I think about here because we tried some solutions a couple years ago to roll out merchant services terminals, and it's hard to get that part right. It's hard to get that part right. Will it be on layer 2? Will it be a base layer transaction on something? Will it be Lightning Network? When you walk around the Bitcoin conference uh, the last 2 years and you have Lightning Network wallet, I use the Moon wallet, and then I loaded it up and I just could walk around from booth to booth and ping, 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 paid for everything with Lightning wallet, and it worked really well. By the same token, if you walk out of that building, you go elsewhere, Lightning Network doesn't work very well. You can't really buy a sandwich in most places with it. I don't know. I think that solution's interesting. I think there's other solutions that are interesting. I mean, USDT on Tron seems to be gaining acceptance everywhere. People want. I don't understand it. It's not for me. I don't understand why after the invention of cryptocurrency, people are like, put some US dollar delimited tokens on there. I don't get that. I see it's really popular though. And it doesn't look like that, by the way, in the future Bitcoin it's not USDT transfers. I'll tell you that much. It's
Yeah.
that ain't going to be it.
Yeah, I guess I've wondered because I really love the story of Bitcoin, but I've been like, man, it's been so many years. I would have just thought there would be a better story right now for it actually to come into real life, like the infrastructure being built out or whatever. It feels like every time there's a little hint of something to me as maybe a casual observer, it then kind of just goes off into the ether and there's some new exciting thing. So it's hard for me to really wrap my head around being able to walk into a Subway and order food or whatever. I don't,
Yeah. There's everyone's going after that everybody knows that's there. There was BitPay from the very beginning going after merchant services transactions. There's another big player, and I can't place the name right now, that wants to just be wants to do a fiat conversion or not. but just really just offer you a good crypto payment platform for your restaurant, for your small store. And I don't think anybody's really killed it yet. I don't think we have it yet. I think about that a lot for what would work here. And it's a system that I think still needs to be built. I think that when you present somebody, like at a restaurant, for instance, I think that you should be presented with a device and it just says, all right, choose your coin. What do you want to pay with? At least today in 2023, that makes sense. And then it should have Lightning Network and Solana, and it should have Ethereum if you want to pay with that. And it should take your USDT on Tron if that's what you got on the phone and you're ready to go, and you know, and you want to pay. And it seems like that. It seems like, but and then that solution I think is difficult to build. And I think that that's not super. I don't think that, but I think that that would be an important solution. I think
Hmm.
to somehow build a low cost anything coin, easy, you know, and then that doesn't, you know, it's if you did it on Lightning, if you only took Lightning, you could do Lightning. You know, but if somebody, you're going to tell the Ethereum guy and the Solana guy to go fuck off, and that's, you know, I don't know. I think like a pans, like a credit card. They don't care what credit card company you have. You just swipe that thing. It seems like something like that might be how it looks. At least
What do
now.
you think? What do you think people are like? What are we missing in this space? Like, what are people not thinking about? Um, you know, often I think to myself, certain days where like, you know, crypto's dead for a little bit, or maybe it's just kind of chopping around. I'm like, what are we doing here, man? Like, I'm like, we're all just chasing bags. Like, it's just another form of poker. I feel like it's player versus player on a lot of these things. Uh, like,
It's, you can do what I hear that all the time. But you're battling trader. I mean, if you're trading, then it is PvP. It is like poker. If you're doing leverage trading, if that's what it's about for you, then it is what it's about. But there's what it's about for other people into crypto is far different than what it's about for you. Some
yeah,
people, if you're just holding spot Bitcoin, like, you know, you don't really look at the price every day. You don't really care, but you wanted that, you know, maybe the self sovereignty, or maybe the ability to have something that you actually own, that you could immediately send somebody else for whatever if you ever want to. Maybe it's an insurance for you. Maybe you're some high net worth and you put 3% in Bitcoin on a Trezor and you never really fucking think about it, but you know, it's in the go bag. You know, I mean, like, it just, it's different for everybody. You know, the OGs, if they have a big stack, they don't care about trading. If somebody is saving, you don't need to trade. Like, I think it's almost like you almost need to like tell people like, don't trade, like stop doing
mhm.
it. I mean, and then, like, you know, some people are beating it, you know, JMO, and now you just like have an example of somebody that you're like, you didn't win the biggest poker tournament, or you didn't win the biggest poker tournament every year for 10 years. You won every poker tournament this year and for 10 years. And and you know, it's like the ceiling is so much higher in crypto. People are chasing that back. It happens in the NFT space too. I mean, people are sometimes using the JPEGs to gamble. You know, they want to buy certain profile pic JPEGs or whatever because they think it will go up. And a lot of people think about cryptocurrency the same way. I'm buying it because I think it's going to go up, and I'll convert back to fiat currency, usually US dollars, and I'm gonna ball out. I'm gonna buy
Ball out.
a Lambo. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna buy a Lambo. Then I'll be happy. If I had a Lambo, then finally. And it's just, it's if you chase it like that, if that's the point of it for you, it's okay. You know, it's okay to play poker. It's okay to scratch lottery tickets. I mean, it's just, you can do whatever you want to do. But I think it's important to realize that it's not like that for a lot of people. And like the Human Rights Foundation, when they talk about Bitcoin, it sure as shit isn't about number go up, see if we can get more resources. It's about getting current resources into the hands of groups that are you know, that are oppressed in some sort of way. And and you know, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's pretty cool to have as a tool. And like, so if you look at it as a protocol and as a tool and what it does, and you can bank an unbanked person anywhere, then like that's way more interesting than, you know, trading the chop on your leverage trading programs, and like, and trying to build that stack a little bit, um, beating your opponents at trading. I mean, it's
Yeah, I used to ask
way
myself.
different.
Yeah, definitely different. I used to ask myself, like, I trade commodities and futures and stuff, and I was like, what's the point of my job? You know, I never understood the fulfillment side of it outside of just like number go up. And somebody told me that like your liquidity is vital to markets, and you help the world set prices for a lot of things, especially in
Uh,
look, I understand. I still don't feel fulfilled. Trust me, but it's an important role, and I do
yeah,
think like you need traders, you need speculators, you need people to fill the space with some sort of liquidity to
sure.
handle large transactions. So yeah, it does come down to what your
Mar-
incentives
mar-
are.
market makers market makers, are obviously important to markets, to some, to some markets. And yeah, commodity. I like the existential crisis there, because I mean, like, I thought the same thing about poker. I mean, poker and commodities trading, at least in the zero sum contract games or something, like, where there's going to be a small percentage of winners, a large percentage of losers, and a hell of a lot of volatility. We love that. Like, humans love that. It's fine to do. I mean, it almost feels to me like I stopped, you know, grinding every day, partially because I wanted to build crypto stuff, and partially because it's like, well, that was a fun game. I realized I had to play it for like a decade and a half, like a lot. Like, I just had to play that game a lot. The first time I played that game, I'm like, oh, I got to play this game. I got to learn all about this game. I want to play against on the biggest stage. I want to play in the biggest tournaments. Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's really intriguing. The game is great. Game's a
Yeah.
great game. Still, I love to not play it for a while, then go
Mhm.
play it for a couple of weeks, and then it's really fun. It's, oh my god, I remember this game. It was so much fun. Like, oh, there's some shit I forgot, but it's okay. I don't need to cash today to have fun. But there is I think a lot of people that left the gambling space and went to crypto looking for some sort of purpose. Maybe got caught up in the leverage trading and the same sort of washing machine, but there's a lot more you can do with it. There's a lot of outs there. There's a lot of like stuff where you could maybe end the day and think, well, that was important.
Mhm.
I mean, I think building crypto infrastructure is important. Like, even on this island, even trying it one place, one time, just seeing if you can build an economy around crypto, seeing if you can just like put in all the rails, incentivize people the right way, just like see if you can make businesses, make an economy around it. Like, it would be really cool. And I think the art as stupid and as much fun as we have doing Pepe's. That's important.
Mhm.
Like having like making fun of like of the current power structures that you think are unethical. That's important. Making memes is all of a sudden memes win elections now, and I mean, it's important. It's
Yeah.
important. It's fun. It's you know to express yourself.
So like,
It brings joy to people.
yeah, NFTs especially, it's great. Uh, One thing like I try to do, and the one thing that is a little annoying about trading and poker is it does require you to put your ass in the seat and play the game. And if you want to be good at it, you got to put your ass in the seat a lot. You got to play the game a lot. And you got to deal with it all. Now you're removed from that, right? And you're able to kind of pick and choose, plug and play how you want to set up your life. So I try to set up my life here as best as I can. I'm going to put my ass in the seat for the trading day, but which I do like. But outside of that, I'm going to then go out into nature a little bit. I'm going to go do a trail run. I'm going to work out. I'm going to pick up the kids. I'm going to cook dinner, whatever it may be, and I'm gonna fill my life with all the things that I really enjoy doing, which is why we all got into poker anyway, right? Like the essential. Uh,
I think it's the same. Yeah.
so how do you
Don't
set
want
up
to
your
work.
life? Yeah, yeah. How do you set up your life now to where you're? I know you're trying to maybe build some infrastructure out and stuff. How are you day to day living?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, it's not perfect yet. I'd like to have a pickleball court in the morning. I'd like to just kind of wake up, a little bit of pickleball. But I mean, I like one. I try to uh, I try to play tennis 2 or 3 times a week, because that's my favorite drug right now. And I think it's important. I think like I just found, I think just only a couple of years ago, that like it's so stupid because you hear it everywhere and everybody knows anyway. But like your physical health is like way important for your mental health. It's like so much more important than people think. Like
Hmm.
10x is 100x as much more important than I thought maybe 10 years ago. And I think that's like as a base layer important for everybody, no matter what you do, no matter what the hell you're doing. To touch that nature, hit that trail run, get that little strength, little cardio. I think it's important for the week. Try to do that, and I think like the family is really important. So I mean, I like to pick my kid up. We did a homeschool year last year and just took her around, and that was awesome. It was like really fun year. Went to some NFT. We went to an NFT convention in Barcelona. Like just there's a Denmark, Sweden, UK, and just like checked a bunch of boxes that we wanted to do. Daughter's 10, like, and it was like really likes traveling. Just kind of lucky, but
Is that a cool
and
age?
that's and like good. Yeah,
10?
yeah,
Yeah.
11 to yeah, like 7 to 10. 7 to 10's been amazing.
Mm.
Play pick up the sticks, play the Nintendo, learn all the
Yeah.
games,
The sticks.
build Minecraft together. Yeah, I mean it's good. It's great. It's great. I feel like kids grinding the first couple of years where there's beautiful moments for sure, but
Hmm.
like now you have a little friend. Now it's like great. It's like you got another member of the crew here. So like
Yeah.
but when they start to do more stuff, it's just I think pretty rewarding. Just try to do that. Try to like I don't know, just like I don't have a plan. I could do it better too. I could do it better, but like I don't really have a lot of scheduled. I mean, there's like this week. This week there's a lot of stuff. There's an ATM deployment. There's some things, but in general, like a strong team, like of working with people that I like. I think that's first and foremost important to like on a daily basis. And like it's just out here. It's so different than US. I understand what you're asking too, but it's just like it's so much different. Like the office is a mill tower 70 feet in the air. So this office sits 70. This where I'm at now. There's like a 360-degree outpost something. And it's just like a completely insane structure that some completely insane guy built in the 60s. And and I go here in the morning most mornings. And then some days I don't want to go and I don't go. But if we don't have anything really super important. And then I'm very lucky to have a close associate here that's just brilliant. That's just like super brilliant, and we're good friends, and it's like uh and then I don't have to do it as much, which is so great. It's so great to not have to do it. That's like it's great. But also, like you said, I don't know. It's fun to build. I have a lot of fun building, and so like I know how you Americans think about it with the work. Oh, it's a work-life balance. Like here in
Hmm.
Antigua, it's almost like automatically like you're supposed to do things at certain times. Like just there's nothing open on Sunday. Like you grab your family, you go to the beach. That's what you do on Sunday. That's just like what That's the only thing that like I mean, you can do whatever. You can do some other stuff, but it's certainly geared towards that, and the whole country is geared towards that. Like your helper doesn't work on Sunday. No one's does. Never have. And there's little vibes like that out in the Caribbean where like you're just not. It's not like a mission every day. It's
Yep.
not like that. It's like it can change too. Also, if you have like a life event and like it stops like it should. Not like oh okay you had some life event, good, bad, whatever. And
Yeah.
okay, but you still got to go to work. It's like no, you don't gotta go to work today. It's like it's that sort of that's very cultural here, and I enjoy it. I enjoy that part.
It sounds nice because yeah, like we get caught up in this like chain of events thing here, right? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? It's one of the reasons I actually have come to really appreciate um and it sounds like it makes sense obviously, but like watching sunsets uh on the West
Okay.
Coast.
Yeah. Yeah.
I First of all, I just love sunsets. Okay, I think everyone's unique. It's amazing, whatever. But I think it like makes you have that moment where you stop for a second. You can kind of take it in, and and then it'll kind of hit you with the realization that like, oh shit, I never really do this. I should do this more often, right? And if you live in an area in which everybody takes moments here and there every day, it's probably just becomes more of a normal thing, and we just don't get that vibe around here as much. And this is Southern California, where it's like more of that vibe, but it's still
Sure. You're supposed to right. That's where it's supposed to find it. If you come from New York, that's where you expect it to be. It's a great. I love that. I love that one. I've been posting a lot of sunset pics just because, like, I just grabbed a new drone and just like there's all the functions and the fucking light balance and try to learn about it and just like they're brilliant here too. Yeah, they're brilliant. San Diego has great sunsets too, obviously, and
sunset too as well.
it, it's a good metaphor for what's. Whenever I dip back in U.S. since I've been here like 7 years now, it feels like this feels more like normal, and that feels more like I don't know, some weird mixture of visitor and that's home too. I don't know. It's not really. Every time I go back, then it feels like you said, the Americans are on like a mission, like all of them every day. There's
Mhm.
like this like jam packed schedule, and like I see Americans that even come here on vacation. It's like, oh, we gotta do this, then we gotta do that. It's like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
no, it's like it should be. The wife and I like are on the same page on this with like the vacations. We're like, it's like we want to do it a few extra days, and like it doesn't need to all happen. If you don't do it today, it's okay. It's like maybe you just wanted to rest, and like that's we'll
Yeah.
just rest, and then we'll wake up later, and then we'll still grab a dinner in the middle of this beautiful city that we aren't in usually, and
Yeah.
we'll soak up the culture. Don't worry. Like we'll go out afterwards. You know what I mean? But like it's just like sometimes I think those Americans tend to just like they make it too short. They try to pack it all in, try to like schedule it all out, and you end up like running around and like trying to check all the boxes, but not watching the sunset.
Not watching
You
the
know
sunset.
that was
Those
not
damn
it wasn't on the
itineraries, man.
schedule.
That's
No
right.
time today.
Yeah, when I see some sort of like, even if I look at our schedule for, because with the kids and stuff, like there's stuff that comes up as I see it filling up, I'm just like, no, I don't want it to fill up. I just want it to be, I just want
Yeah,
gaps of time, man. I don't like
dude.
feeling the boxed in itinerary.
I don't like it when I have to do it. I mean, it's like as you get older too. I feel like I get more Larry David-ish, and it's just like
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. Oh, what is it? Same people there. Whatever.
All right. So we've gone about 45 minutes. Let me do two more questions here for you. One, um, what is the biggest lesson for you
Sure thing.
that crypto has kind of has brought you? And after that, just let's get a little Pepe discussion in, and why you love it so much.
Yeah. The biggest lesson I think is time value of money, and I try to teach that to the daughter. I think that's an important one of just like, especially, I mean, she didn't really understand it from a dollars and cents standpoint, but just like Bitcoin teaches you to save, where if you have like inflationary money, you'd be more incentivized to spend. And I think that I think it still works too, where it's like the time value of money. Like you save your crypto and you can get more later. If you deny your, don't get it now and instead save, and then you can get the bigger one later or whatever. That lesson I
So
think is taught really well through crypto.
like not having instant gratification, more of like a long-term outlook. And,
Yeah,
yeah.
the delayed gratification, sure. That I think is taught well.
Hmm. And then
And the
Pepe's.
second one
Let's hear it.
was frog was
Nakamoto.
frog it was frog JPEG related. Yeah. I mean,
Let's
there's a
go.
I, I mean, like you can understand it from an equities guy and from a poker guy, where like 21 the play set up where NFTs started to pop, and I made a Soda Popinski in 2016 when I was down bad, and or in 17 when I was down, whatever, I was still down bad. But it's such a like the vibe, like one, this what we didn't even call them NFTs, we were just minting frogs for no reason because we're playing with the latest protocol, with the counterparty protocol. We're playing with bleeding edge Bitcoin technology. And counterparty, for those that don't know, uses the op return data in Bitcoin to issue and mint the asset. So it's a protocol that embeds a little bit of data in every Bitcoin block that there's a transaction. And clicking buttons, cool as fuck. you take a look at what's on this protocol, and like this protocol was entirely taken over by the frog people. And so when I find it, it's just like, all right, like, you know, I'm always looking at the, I'm always, I don't know, just super curious and like into crypto since almost the beginning. So just like always looking at the latest, whatever, just see what people are doing, see what ordinals are, you know, just like it still happens today. Now there's too much of it, can't consume it all. But then, you know, this was just a cool group. It's just like, it was like, it's just a bunch of like, you know, weed smoker type. It just
Mhm.
seems there's this straight, the Pepe artists are very, when I met them all, we're very similar. I mean, there's some that of course don't fit the mold, but like there was just a lot of guys like me. There's a lot of guys just like kind of similar, and a couple of females that not many females, and not many females represented.
There aren't
But
a lot of females in crypto?
just I mean in the rare Pepe's in the rare Pepe artist set is what I
Yeah,
was
I
thinking.
got
But the I mean, but whatever. I mean, like that's who was minting frogs on the blockchain in 16 to 18. It doesn't even sound like it's. I mean, like it was like it's funny because like there's some Japanese. There's a whole like there's a Japanese subset of these, and there are some female Japanese artists that minted them, not on that same vibe, not on the
you.
weed smoker crypto guy, crypto bro kind of vibe.
Mhm.
Totally different. And there's the French artist Zed, not on that vibe either.
Mm.
Street artist, proper Parisian street artist, and not on that vibe either. But I would say the majority were, and they in 21 you can understand this that you see other NFTs blasting off, and you're just like, well, I made these could be up next, and you know, I made one of these. I remember these. There was a lot of them that I wanted because I was down bad at the time,
Mhm.
and then on 21 I find myself up, and I just and so I circle back. I'm like, you know, give me some Nakamoto cards. I've always wanted that. Like I have always wanted. Like when I was down bad, it was like $1,100, and you're just like, you're down bad. You're thinking about rent. You're thinking about food. You're thinking about getting a couple months of cushion, and then the last thing you're thinking about is like is a $1,000 JPEG, and
Yeah.
like that's the last fucking thing on your mind. But so you look at it and you're like, oh man, imagine if, what if that, and then so then you circle back and then like these things are basically dead, and I'm just like, you know, and just anything, any major fire, I would talk with the wife if I'm gonna fire something big, and like I'm like, you know, I'm like, remember these, and you know, like I think I'm gonna like, you know, grab 5 or 10,000 worth and just, you know, just like, you know, make a play, and like it got kind of, well, you know how it is. Sometimes you find something you really like the idea, you click the button a couple too many, you just keep clicking the button. You're like, oh, there's no, oh, let's click that one. It's like, oh, and then like the play grew and grew from humble beginnings, and I don't know. Next thing you know, I just like, you know, you just find yourself like 6 digits deep in frog JPEGs, and you're just like, I was like, all right, like I think this is like a great play, but like, and that was a massive play for me. I mean, at the time specifically, that was like a really big play, and like then and sure enough, like it just um, you know, the vaulting came with Shannon's emblem vaults, and like
Yeah.
now all of a sudden they start transferring to ETH, and like I had aped in before that,
Mhm.
and and then I led the charge there, and it felt fun to sort of, you know, kind of reinvent myself yet again. Like, why not? And it's just like, and just go hard on Rare Pepe dealer. Just like kind of really, I just really thought that it was a good play, and you know, kind of got lucky or whatever. Like, and it was, and like, and then just like, just basically just piled up so many fucking frog pictures, and it's like since then, just like sell, 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 sell. I still buy some stuff that I really like, but like just from, and I still hold. There's some stuff I won't say that I just, wife and I
Mhm.
really like. Sometimes you just really like the frog. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
and the Nakamoto card specifically, I bought 5 of them for like 1,500, 2K, 2,500, 20,000, and 22,000. And so I had 5, and then sold for 49, 42K, 69K, 230K,
Mm.
and then have 2 of them, and still have 2.
Beautiful.
So like, I mean, yeah, it's a fun play. I mean, for sure. Like I'm, you know, there's one that's probably going to stay. I don't, you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. It didn't feel, I didn't feel the need to sell any of, you know, either of those yet at all.
Mm.
But
I still
I don't
think
know.
they
I
have
think that
a
that
they have another story before, you know what I mean? It's not like we've gone through another Pepe kind of life cycle. I feel like it's a proper move to be patient, you know. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. We will
But
see.
yeah,
It looks like they're back on too.
you say you were lucky and stuff, but again, like you kind of had to have that a little bit of that vision of how meme culture might kind of take off here. You had to be there had to be somebody to pull that trigger. You know what I mean?
It,
And you just
it's
happen to be the guy.
it's important to say I took a lot of L's. There's so like you don't just nobody just like, oh, how about all the L's that you took? Oh, okay, let me list those down for you. Like you don't. There's so many losses in here that like there are those wins. You know, the wins do pay for all the losses, but there's so many ideas like that weren't for that size, but like or like for
Yeah.
would have been a smaller percentage of net for me. But there's a lot of L's, and like so the W does feel lucky, and maybe it's
Fair
not,
enough.
but whatever.
It's like winning
It feels that way.
a World Series event. You know, you're probably gonna feel lucky there
Yeah.
too. But there's a lot
Yeah.
of L's along
Like I
the way. So,
like I played
um,
great, kids. Guys are playing great. That's why I won.
what are a couple
Everybody
Pepe
told me.
cards? What are a couple Pepe cards that people might not really know about that might be like cool to keep in mind just in case you ever see them like pop up here and there?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dig through like there's like Zed, the French guy that I work closely with. I sell a lot of his stuff on Rare Pepe dealer, and I got to meet him in Barcelona. We went around, posted up a bunch of Pepe soups on the light poles there. It was actually really great. It was actually really awesome. Like after working together for some years and then whatever. It's great. He has some Pepes. Everybody likes Pepe soup. And there's a couple others that Gothic Pepe that he's like known for. But there's a couple others like barely ever traded. If you look through the 12 Z cards, and you can go to pepe.wtf is a great way to search like when you see and you can type in Pepe soup on pepe.wtf and then
Mhm.
you can see the artist, you click the artist name, and you can see all of his work in rare Pepes and in other sets. And it's really well organized there. And so look, you can see like some of his Pepe Afrikek is hilarious and barely trades. Um, his Darwin Pepe barely trades too. There's a couple of them in there.
Okay.
Same thing with Mr. Hansel. Mr. Hansel has some cards that like barely ever traded, and I mean Easy B has a couple gems. I'm just thinking artists, and you want card names,
Oh yeah, I
and
mean yeah, whatever. I'm gonna go check them out anyway. So
yeah, yeah. Give if you like starting at pepe.wtf, and you can even click you can click Soda Popinski, and then you can see you can poke around my wallet there, and
okay,
just like and you see the dumb shit I own, and if anybody has Pepe questions, I'm available 24/7 for you as the Rare Pepe dealer. You just hit me on X. Hit me on
He-
X.
he's the guy in the trench
Big
coat.
Sunlight. Yeah,
um,
with the
yeah,
frogs.
my
Some frogs.
favorite card is
Some frogs, homie? Hey, what do you
Frog.
got? What do you got on
My
the set?
my favorite card. You want to talk about down bad? I mean, I'm the guy that buys the top of the Pepe cycle, right? So me and everybody else. But anyways, I do have actually. I think we are up money on because me and a buddy started trading some of those, and we made like 80 or 90 ETH on one of those Nakamoto cards. So that was pretty sweet because
Yeah.
ETH was like 3K at the time or whatever. So,
Hell yeah.
but anyways, we
Little
have
knock a flip.
yeah, a little Naka flip. I have
Strong. Strong.
Pepe Kachu is like my favorite card. The Pikachu one. It's
I
just
know
so
exactly what you're talking about. The poorly drawn Pikachu.
yeah, it's
Okay,
so
maybe not
good.
poorly drawn. Sorry,
I just love it. I
that
don't know. It's in like a black hoodie. I don't know why I love it so much.
that card, catch rare, is
Catch
written on
rare.
the card. That that card is so insanely popular. I was not around. That was minted in 16. I come in 17.
Mm,
I don't know the whole thing, like, but there's that card is always like it always traded for like such high value compared to like it's 125 issuance, 120 something.
so
It's
yeah,
and like
125.
it is so well. It's like one of the most well distributed, most well traded cards in the set, and it's just
Yeah.
like it is that reaction from like I've dealt that card a couple times, bought and sold that card a couple times, and that is like the buyer's like ravenous for it like
Yeah.
every time.
I love it.
They're just
I
like,
love
oh
it.
my god, I've been chasing it for a while. Like they're finally like, okay, no, we can finally get to a price, finally at a point where I can have it. Like
I remember
everybody
that.
has that.
Go ahead.
No, that one just hits emotions out of people, like more
Yeah,
so than the other cards.
yeah.
There's a few others like that, but yeah.
So I really like the Pepe Lisas, like the Mona Lisa ones. But it's
Mhm.
funny that you mentioned
Sure,
distribution because
sure,
like during that Pepe cycle,
sure.
I was buying and selling and whatever, and then I've heard somebody talk about that, and I was like, oh shit, I should probably start looking at if like some dude's gonna be just dumping an entire bag of Pepes on us. And sure
Yeah,
enough, the
sure.
Lisa one, it was like one holder just selling like every day, just one, and I was like,
Uh,
oh shit.
the the great part about these are like some of the 100 issuances, some of the 200, 500, even 1,000 issuances. After they're done, after the artist or whoever has the bulk of the issuance, there's a lot of weird shit that happened back there. Uh, then it's distributed. Like then it's over. I mean, there's he can't keep dumping on you. He's out. That clip will empty. And then obviously lower issuance, it empties earlier. If you think about it, that turtles all the way down, or the one of ones, the issue is emptied immediately.
Yeah.
It's over with one sale. And even the one of tens. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just interesting to think about how that scales. And then when you're buying a certain Pepe, look at the issuance and say, okay, do I need a board ape level community before this one is distributed?
Hmm.
Or not. And then it's kind of interesting to look at that. And I actually think all the ones. I think if you think of 10,000 and under, we know that has a shot. It's like Suck My Pepe, one of my favorite Pepes, just from the visual artist standpoint. It's Taylor Swift, the Pepe Cash logo, and 10,000 of them. But everybody loves it. So I would wonder if that one ends up becoming well distributed, like over time. Just little things like that. You know,
It's like a cool little game within a game there. Yeah.
Absolutely. 1,700 cards, all different issuances. Have at it. Blockchain street art from 16 to 18.
It's wild.
I mean, show me a better. James, I got to run.
All right. Well, thanks for
I got to
taking the
go.
time, guys. Everybody, Bryan Micon, go check him out on Twitter. Is it just your name, or what is it on there?
Yep, yep. At Bryan Micon, Bryan
Nice.
Micon.
Rare Pepe dealer,
Hit me
guys.
with the
Thanks
Y.
for coming on.
Thanks for having me on, James. Have a good one, man.
See you later. You too.